Okay, and we will now reconvene into open session at 5:41. And there was no action taken to report on from closed session. We will now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America. Liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move on to item 5, comment session, comments and announcements by board members. I have no announcements. Vice President Lisa Torres.
I have no announcements.
Jessica Anthony.
I have nothing today.
Okay, Sandra Barnes.
I'm just welcome everyone back to school. It's good to be back. Stay
And
dry.
Thank you. Bill LeGrand.
I have none at this time. Thank you.
Okay. So now we'll move on to comments and announcements by administration.
I just have a couple to share. I've been really enjoying going up and visiting our schools this week. It's great to see all of our staff working so hard with our students. I've been really enjoying going to numerous basketball games at the studios at Central. We have full teams of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, both boys and girls, that take place on most afternoons, and it's great to see that. We have a lot of parent participation there at those games, and really excited for the second half of school. I feel like we're starting to finally get out of the haze of COVID and really starting to get focused back on our academics, and excited to keep moving forward in our goals of improving our academics and our SEL for our students. Thank you.
Great. Andrew James.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to 2023. I'd just like to take this opportunity to, when we think about all of the rain we've been blessed with over the last few weeks, think about all of the custodial and maintenance staff we have around the district who have been out in it, working hard, fixing leaks, clearing gutters, doing all these things. So I know we love the rain, but I know it requires some support and some maintenance, and I really appreciate the hard work they're all doing.
Thank you. Absolutely. I will echo that as well. And Janet Hanley.
Good evening. I have a couple of announcements. We have our Supportive School Climate Committee on January 31st from 5 to 7 at the studios. Anybody interested in attending, if you could contact my secretary, Shannon Insminger, to let her know that you're attending. We are serving dinner first, and then we'll be having a meeting. So we just need it for food count. So hope everybody can join us. And then on February 7th at 4:30, we have a DLAC meeting at Wyandotte. And I do want to give kudos to Amy Hubbard. She was at one time the curriculum coordinator and is moving into a new position, but she helped us with some assessments this year. We are moving into common assessments, and because of a change in position, she is helped fast track, and very quickly we got a lot of assessments created and met with teachers at different grade levels, and she really helped and was instrumental in getting the assessments into the Illuminate. So kudos to Amy Hubbard for all her work and working with the teachers on getting that done. So thank you.
Thank you. Janet, could you clarify? You said February 7th is a DLAC meeting? What is that?
Yes, February 7th is DLAC.
What is DLAC?
Oh, DLAC is the district
English language.
district English language. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I get so used to my acronyms, I forget.
Thank
So
you.
district-wide meeting for second language.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. And Holly Gutierrez.
What time is that?
Oh.
Janet, what time?
It is 4:30 and
4:30.
it is at Wyandotte.
Thank you. Holly.
Good evening. The only announcement I have is that the special ed department is going to put on another job fair, and we're excited to invite the community to come and apply. It will be on January 25th from 9 to 2, and it will be held at the district office.
Great. Thank you. All right, and now item C, comments by the public. At this time, the board will extend an invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on matters which are school related. For those attending remotely who wish to comment, use the raise your hand feature to be called on to speak. Comments or questions may also be emailed to backpack@ocesd.net. Please include your first and last name in your email. Comments and questions received will be read into the record and or addressed during the meeting. However, comments received without the sender's name will not be shared during the meeting. Do we have any email comments to read?
No, we do not.
Okay, and do we have any online Zoom?
No, we do not.
All right, anything from the public? Yes, please come forward. And state your name.
I am Christy Anglin, and I am a UPK kindergarten teacher at Beaufort Elementary School. And today I'm also coming forward with a new position. I am the new OETA president. And so I am looking forward to building a relationship with everyone here. We've had relationships before. I've known you for some years, and this is a new opportunity for me to make a very positive climate between all of us. It's always, everything has ups and downs, but I'm looking for ups. And so on that, I want to add, I hope you received an email from me inviting you to a school board reception for the Chico Service Center on February 28th. If you didn't see it, let me know. It'll be held at 5:30 in Durham at Alamendra, and it connects all of our county schools, board members, and things like that. So I would love to have you join me. It's very friendly, informative, and I've enjoyed it in the past. And then my last thing I wanted to add is my delivery man the other day said, "Oh, I didn't know you were famous." And I said, "Oh, really?" So the UPK commercial is still running. And so as we get closer to the new dates, it'll probably need to be updated. That will be moving forward to April 2nd as the cutoff for the next upcoming school year as we're planning. So thank you for having me here tonight. And I look forward to working with all of you, and contact me anytime if you need anything. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item number 6, presentations, 2023-24 enrollment projections.
So I've created the enrollment projections for the 23-24 school year. I also worked with Spencer and kind of sketched out what the classes would look like. This is the method for you doing this is, you just sort of taking last year's class, moving them up a grade and reducing the class size by about 2%, which is our ongoing reduction in student enrollment that we have and has been going on for as long as I've been here. Overall, the enrollment ends up being the same as the enrollment this year because you have a small 8th grade class going off the edge of the page and a average size, because he's an average for the kindergarten class size, average size class coming in. So it makes to the exact same number. I did check it many times. But with this particular student load, we believe that we have adequate staffing to cover all those classes and don't see a need to cut any teacher FTE or anything like that. We feel like the current roster of teachers will cover and it would be adequate to cover.
Great. Any questions or comments from the board on this? That's good news that we don't have to lose
Yeah.
any teachers or any staff.
Yeah, we might have to, projection wise today, of
Right.
course, it's months away, but we're looking at, we might have to move one teacher from one site to another, which is the typical type of adjustment we make over the summer. So
Good news. Thank you. All right. Now, item 7, action session, public comments on action items. The board will extend an invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on items that are listed on the agenda. For those attending remotely who wish to comment, use the raise your hand button to be called on to speak. Comments may also be emailed to backpack@ocesd.net. Please include your first and last name in your comments. Comments received that pertain to items listed on the agenda will be read into the record at this time. However, comments received without the sender's name will not be read. The Brown Act does not allow the governing board to discuss or take action on any item that are not on the posted agenda. Do we have any emails to read?
no, we do not.
Okay, any raised hands on Zoom?
There are none.
Okay, and any comments from the public? All right. So we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Madam President, I just have one change that I would like to bring to the attention of the board. On the personnel recommendations, like to remove the recommendation for a change of placement for Nicole Welke to be removed from the board agenda.
Does the board have any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Okay, then I will call for a vote. All in favor of approving oh no, I'm sorry, I need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the proposed change by Dr. Holtum.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 5 yes votes. Okay, item number 9, new business, review proposed 2023-24 school calendar.
Okay. So this year, we're proposing a new calendar for next year. As we've discussed in previous years, we follow the program or the calendar of the high school district as it services Thermalito, Palermo, and Oroville City students. And so we all follow that program or that calendar because it helps with childcare and for work for all the community members in this area. So we've always kind of followed their calendar so that we have continuity between all the different districts and schools. Important to note that last year we had a large discussion about the February holiday break, how it was removed and made into a 4-day weekend this year. And the high school district has reverted back to the full week of the February break. But that is about the most significant change. Other than that, I asked the board to approve the calendar as recommended.
It's actually not an action item at this time.
Oh.
We'll bring it back
Okay.
next month, but we are open for discussion or comments, questions from the board.
I received the finalized copy of the high school's calendar yesterday.
And
Theirs is formal.
oh,
Theirs is already set in stone,
Theirs is
which almost
approved.
makes this one repugnant.
Well, and I do want to let the board know that we don't have to follow their calendar.
Oh, no.
But it is highly recommended that we
Yeah.
do based on transportation and the fact that we want to have continuity. A lot of our students are watched by their high school siblings and things like that. So it makes a lot of sense.
I would also like to ask the board to consider and revisit the idea of changing our Christmas recess to a winter recess and our Easter recess to a spring recess or break. We did discuss this a little bit last year, and I just would like to reiterate that there are some people that do not celebrate those religious holidays, and using those terms is not inclusive. And we've worked really hard the last couple of years of being a more inclusive district. And it would be more respectful to be more inclusive and call them winter recess and spring recess. And I did do a review of the other districts in Butte County. And of the 14 districts in Butte County, 12 of them use winter break and spring break, or winter recess and spring recess. So there's only 2. That's one of us. We are one of them. The other one is Palermo. They use a holiday break for the winter time in December, and then they do have an Easter break. Every other district, including Oroville Union High School District, which we model our calendar off after, they have a winter recess and a spring recess. I know we're not voting on it. It's not an action item, but I would like to put that out there for your consideration. Any other comments or questions?
I just when we went to conference in December, there was quite a bit of discussion over the banning of gasoline powered buses moving forward here in the state of California. Have we heard anything more about that from our end, and how is that going to impact us?
I know that the high school district has some, electric buses already. They're applying for lots of grants, using our eligibility to apply for the grants to get those buses. I don't know specifically about, all the ins and outs of the regulations. That's one of the joys of having the high school district operate the transportation department for us, so they can have that headache and we don't have to worry about it as much. But they are, as up to speed as they can be and are in the process of applying for all the grants they can to replace buses.
We know that they have, we've worked with them to secure some grants for electric buses in the past. In my conversations that I've had with other superintendents that have transportation departments, there are some issues that districts have had with electric buses. For example, when they go on field trips or athletic events,
Up the hills.
they have sometimes have a hard time finding electric, recharging stations. We also know that we have to have gas powered buses for some of our routes that go outside the city, because electric buses have a difficult time on the hills and outside of our city. So there's always going to have a need for at least some gas powered transportation in our districts, and until they work out some of those issues.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll move on to item B, to approve the 2021-2022 school accountability report card, SARC.
So members of the board, you may have noticed that all of our SARCs are incomplete, and there's a very specific reason for that. The areas of our accountability report card that are absent of information is because the state certifies that data, and the state has not released that data as of yet. Now, normally, if that would be the case, I would just pull the agenda item and bring it next month. However, there is a state deadline to turn in your SARC by the end of the month. And so my recommendation to the board is to approve the SARCs as is. And then when we get the state update, the state data update, I will bring them back for another round of voting. But what we don't want to do is, I also pulled all the other districts in the county, and they're doing exactly the same thing that I'm proposing, is agree to and pass what we have so far, and then bring them back when we have all the other data, because we don't want to be found out of compliance on this matter.
Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, since this is an action item, is there a motion to approve the 21-22 SARC?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any additional comments or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 5 yes votes. All right, item C, select trustee representatives for the 2023 district committees.
So this is your opportunity to be assigned district committees for this next calendar year. We usually have 1 to 2 board members on each committee. It's not really allowed to have more than 2, because you'd be a quorum, and so we try to stay within the rules and have 1 to 2 on each committee. And I'll ask Kim to kind of announce the different committees, and you can just kind of raise your hand or chime in to the ones that you'd like to be on. So Kim, I'll have you read them first, and then go through it again to see what they'd like.
Okay, so the first is the LCAP, or the Local Control and Accountability Plan Committee. So the second is the District English Learner Advisory Committee, that's the DLAC, District Safety Committee, and then Supportive Schools Committee. So for the LCAP.
Anybody like to be on the LCAP?
Always like to be on the LCAP. I just don't know when all the meetings are, because I never get notifications.
We will get those to you.
Thank you.
So Sandra, for the LCAP, is there anyone else who's interested? No? Okay. For the DLAC?
When are those meetings typically held?
The
That would
next
be
one
Janet.
is February 7th
Okay.
at 4:30
For the DLAC meeting?
for the
At
DLAC.
4:30.
They have about 4 meetings a year and it's always after school.
Anyone? For DLAC?
I'd really like to be on the other two committees, but if there's nobody else on this one, I would be willing to
For DLAC.
be a representative.
Okay.
On this one, I'm.
For the DLAC? Okay.
So would that mean that
Is
you
that a
would have a
conflict?
conflict of interest, or would it be beneficial for you to be on?
Cause I like,
Oh,
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
always on, I will remember.
okay.
Yeah, and it's not a conflict of interest. If you change your mind, it's
Right.
not.
Okay.
Okay, so the District Safety Committee,
I'll go ahead.
Sharon
Uh-oh.
and Lisa
Okay, so,
There's 3 of us.
and
Yeah.
Jessica.
so,
Oh,
so
okay.
this is a very important committee, and at CSBA, the question was asked, when we have a district committee, can we actually have more than 2 on it? And the answer is yes. Now, there are some certain guidelines that I need to follow, like posting an agenda and things like that, but we can have 3 board members on our safety committee. So if you, now it's easier to just have 2 because then we don't have to do that, but this is a very important committee. And if you're passionate about it, it's not a whole lot of extra work that we need to do. We just need to follow certain guidelines for the meeting. And one of those is posting an agenda.
If you two can take it and I'll volunteer for supportive school climate.
But I think then we all 3 want supportive school climate too.
You guys are awesome, but
I would really like to
Roxanne-
be on both, and if you two want to be, I think that we should go ahead and do that and have you go through the extra steps that are necessary.
And
I don't think anyone should step out if you're interested.
I don't think so either. And what I'll do is I'll do it 2 ways. Number one, the extra steps aren't really that intrusive on our time. It is extra work. And you'll thank Kim later.
Yeah.
Because but the other piece is that I'll let you know further far enough in advance to know if you're able to attend, because if one of you are unable to attend, then we don't need to go through that because there'll only be 2 of you in attendance.
So Spencer, just very quickly, what is the purpose of the supportive school climate council? Because I've read things from the DOJ's parameters, expectations. Can you delineate what that?
So I'll answer it, and then I'll also let Janet fill in any blanks because she's the one who kind of coordinates those supportive, but it's really our outreach to specifically the African American Culture Club or Cultural Center, the Hmong Cultural Center, the Moortown Renterias, and really, and other groups in our area. And we talk about the data, we talk about the restorative practices, the PBIS, and all the things that we're doing to try to improve our school climates. And this is an opportunity where we get to get input from not just our parents, but other advisory groups in the area. And it's also a chance for us to kind of share with them what we're doing, let them know what we're doing in our schools, and ways to just empower our community with knowledge of what we're doing in the schools. Janet, anything else?
No, you covered it very well.
You put your microphone
My
on.
mic on.
Yes, because I had contacted Janet, I had emailed her and asked her when the date was, so because I was trying to find out when it was, so I could make sure I can be on there.
Mhm.
Any other comments or questions? All right, thank you for participating. We'll move on to item D to review the quarterly report of
She has to
the,
vote.
oh, do we have to vote on these? I'm sorry.
So,
All
do you
right,
want me to recap who's going to be
yes,
on what?
please. Yeah.
Okay. So for the LCAP committee, it will be Sandra Barnes. The DLAC committee will be Sharon Nelson. District Safety Committee is Sharon Nilsson, Lisa Torres, and Jessica Anthony, and the Supportive School Climates, Sharon Nilsson, Lisa Torres, and Jessica Anthony.
All right, is there a motion to approve these representatives on the committees?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comment or discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 5 yes votes. All right, item D, review quarterly report of district compliance with Ed Code, section 35186, the uniform complaint procedure.
This quarter, we've received no uniform complaints.
And this uniform complaint is only that you have to report on is only for the specific
Specific. It's a
items
specific-
listed here, textbooks, instructional materials, facilities. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you. And item 10, business and finance, adopt resolution 22-2307, opening fund 20.
So I don't know how deep you want to get into the weeds here. In 1999, the Government Accounting Standards Board created GASB 45, which created a liability for Orville Elementary School District for any future retiree health benefits. This was in the wake of the Enron scandal when Enron collapsed. All those people's pensions and things were gone because they were never accounted for. They were just assumed they would be there. So at that time, businesses, government agencies had to start saying, here is our liability for that amount of money for what we actually owe on those future benefits. So Fund 20 would be a place to begin to fund using some of the one-time money we have now, take a piece of that and put it in Fund 20 to begin to fund that liability so that it'll just start to be the place that pays for those future benefits. And it'll be funded also by having it in a Fund 20 as opposed to an irrevocable trust. Should the district ever have a really bad day, you can go back and get the cash to borrow cash against it. And it is revocable. So the board could make a motion to remove the money from Fund 20. I look at it as, a good opportunity for us to fund our liabilities, things that we owe to our employees that we've, been collectively ignoring for a long time. I know very few agencies in the beginning were funding this, but more and more have over time when they had an opportunity.
So I wonder then, why would we want to make it non-irrevocable if this is money that we need to have available for this
No,
purpose?
we'll make it so it's revocable.
Okay.
The other option is to put it in an irrevocable trust.
Oh, okay.
So this is be revocable by putting it in a fund.
Well, wait, no, and I guess that's what I mean. I
So-
would think we shouldn't have it to be available to be revocable.
I think the reason is because when we think about what you're going to do with your cash, the state has a tendency to borrow money from districts, meaning I have to go back to our other funds and borrow the money, borrow the cash back. If I put it in a trust, I don't actually have it on my books.
So if the state needs to borrow money back from us, we have a pool that we can borrow it back from our future
ourselves.
retirees.
Yes, that's
Not
right.
from ourselves, but from our future retirees.
Right, exactly.
Okay. I don't know enough about finance I'm sure you feel that that's fiscally
Well,
smart,
I
but-
think realistically, I hope that we never have to dip into it.
right.
Hopefully it will just put the money in. It will continue to do what it's supposed to do. And that'll be great. But I do think there's an added value to not tying it up completely. To give yourself more flexibility. Just looking back on this district, I was at the county office when the big hits came. I was in budget meetings where I got hit with a shoe. The news was so bad. This district suffered dearly during the cuts, dearly. It was, you can still talk to CSCA members who say you still haven't restored all of our positions, though I believe we have at this point. But it was years and years and years of cut that created, and not having the tools there to offset it because it was such a quick cut, such a deep cut. It was a 20% cut over 18 months, and it was brutal. It was a brutal time. So I look at it and go, if If Warrenville City Elementary had had a tool like that, they would have used it at that point, which would have been a dire circumstance. So I don't see us using it, oh, willy-nilly. Spencer wants a new BMW, right? It's going to be something dire is happening, and that would be the board's decision.
I have not seen one that is irrevocable yet. I mean, they all have to be revocable, and we have to have that flexibility and that ability to move back and forth. We don't want to lock ourselves into something that we don't know what 2 years from now is going to bring. I mean, and if for some reason, GASB 45 changes or there's some alteration to it and we have money locked into this account, we could end up in a real struggle trying to free up that money. So I believe it makes the most sense to have it in a flexible account so that we can move it. I would suggest, though, that we do restrict that account to it takes board approval to move that money. That way we are, we trust our staff, but we want to be fully aware of, that we're meeting our financial obligation and our responsibility to our employees.
And so, anytime I move money into a different fund, it does require board approval. It has to be included in a budget or by itself. So I can't autonomously move money out of Fund 1 anywhere without the board's approval. So,
Any other comments or questions? Okay, so is there a motion, where are we at? Motion to adopt resolution 22-2307.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 5 yes votes. All right, and we will now adjourn the meeting at 6:14.